Sean, why'd you throw a brick at gay people? Sean, what's wrong with you? Why'd you do that?
I'm gay myself.
You're gay yourself?
Yeah.
So why'd you do it?
Something personal.
What's that? Something personal?
Yeah.
Like what? You were after some guy? Or the place?
Somebody.
Somebody who? Who, Sean?
All right, guys, so we got to talk about a story that has disappeared out of the mainstream level media because it simply does not fit the narrative. And this happens quite a bit. USC story happened. It'll be a big story. And then as soon as the story turns out to not be in favor of the leftist narrative that this country is racist, bigoted, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, whatever, right? They quickly pivot to something else, right? Most likely talking about Trump, okay? That's what they do. Happens over and over and over and over and over again. And this is one of these stories that got swept under the rug as soon as it became clear that the media couldn't really make a whole lot of money off this, right? They couldn't virtue signal off this. And again, this pushes a narrative that the mainstream liberal media doesn't want you to believe, which is that, LGBTQ people, they do attack each other, right? There are attacks against LGBTQ people from LGBTQ people, right? Now, again, this story happened in the wake of the Colorado mass shooting, which was a tragedy. It was a horrible crime committed by a violent lunatic. Now, we don't know the real motive, and the mainstream media speculated that the Republican Party conservatives influenced him to do it. People like Matt Walsh, who lives on TikTok, Tucker Carlson, they all influenced this guy to commit this horrible act, right? They were convinced that that was the case, even though there was no evidence. And then as soon as the shooter said that he's non-binary, they either stopped talking about it or they said that he's actually not non-binary, that he is lying, okay? It is impossible. It's impossible for LGBTQ people to commit acts of violence against each other. That's literally what they said.
And if they're non-binary, why would you go after the club where you feel safe at? Why would you do that to a community where you are welcomed in if you are non-binary?
Excellent question. Obviously, all of this will have to be answered.
Yeah, why would you do that? Right? Impossible. Okay, you can't be non-binary and commit an act of violence like that against people who are also part of the LGBTQ community, okay? Because the only acts of violence that are committed against these people have to be because it's hate, okay? Hate for these people. It can't be a personal issue, okay? It can't be some type of, lovers quarrel going wrong, some type of disagreement. That really doesn't have anything to do with hate for LGBTQ people as much as it has to do with a personal issue that person had with a specific group of people or a specific person for reasons outside of their sexuality or their gender. Okay, nope, impossible. And by this same logic, right, you could say that it's impossible for black people to commit acts of violence against each other too, right? But we know for a fact that that's just simply not true. Okay, in fact, we know that if an act of violence is done against you, it's most likely to be done by somebody that you know or somebody of the same race, okay? So the idea that random acts of violence against LGBTQ people can't be done by other LGBTQ people is just silly, right? It's extremely silly. And this story right here proves it. As there was a man that was arrested for throwing a brick into a Hell's Kitchen's gay bar in New York City. And I want to go ahead and play the news clip so you guys can get a better idea of what happened in this situation. And to no surprise, you had, the Democrats and the politicians crying hate crime immediately, right, before they actually knew the identity of the suspect. Take a look.
He was brought here to the 7th Precinct on the Lower East Side earlier today. He was here pretty much all day long while the police questioned him. Then he was charged and he was taken to Central Booking. Go ahead and take a look at this video here because this is the walk shot. He came out of the 7th Precinct about a half an hour ago. Now, what police are telling us at this point is that they have arrested 34-year-old Sean Kuilan. He is charged with 3 counts of criminal mischief. Police say Kuilan threw a brick through the front window of a gay bar in Hell's Kitchen recently at least 3 times. Now, police say it is Kuilan in the surveillance video throwing the brick at Ver's nightclub. He is doing this, as you can see, in front of customers that look on in horror. You can see them in the video who are eating at a restaurant right next door. It turns out that Kuilan lives just about a block away from the bar. Now, the arrest happening on the same day that Governor Hochul signed legislation that will require people convicted of hate crimes to undergo mandatory training or counseling in hate crime prevention and education. The governor responding to a string of attacks against the LGBTQ, Asian, and Jewish communities.
Communities that have been under attack for far too long. The Jewish community, the LGBTQ community, black and brown, the Asian AAPI communities. None of you deserve this. No one deserves this. We all have a God-given right to walk the streets, go where we want to worship, be safe in our homes, our subways, and in our clubs. That is a God-given right as a New Yorker. And we're here to protect that.
The governor also signing another bill that is going to be providing $50 million in funding to nonprofits so that they can take some extra steps to beef up security. Back inside to you.
Very well. All right. Thanks, London.
Yeah, don't you guys just love how every community is under attack, apparently except white people, right? LGBTQ is under attack. Hispanics are under attack. Black people are under attack. Asians are under attack. What about white folks? Are they not under attack? Maybe, just maybe, with America's crime problem, I think it's safe to say that law-abiding American citizens are under attack regardless of your skin color, who you like to sleep with, and whether you like your genitals or your sex. I'm just saying, right? But, you know, unsurprisingly here, the left, they came out and they blamed Republicans and right and hate for why this happened, okay? They said, I was inside while this happened. Queer pleasure is under attack. Defend queer pleasure to the death. The work we are doing to keep communities safe from disease stands in direct contrast and is directly under attack by fascists. Republican politicians are encouraging and inspiring these attacks on the queer community, period. Their hateful and empty rhetoric that they use to drum up fear to distract from their lack of ideas hurts our community, but we aren't effing targets. Okay, so clearly they're blaming Republicans, okay? Those tweets probably got deleted because when the facts came out, it seems like this was alphabet on alphabet violence here, okay? As allegedly, this man attacked this NYC gay bar because it was revenge on behalf of a female friend. So let's actually read about this. A suspect was busted Tuesday in a string of attacks on Hell's Kitchen's gay bar and allegedly told cops he was just exacting revenge on behalf of a gal pal feuding with the club. Sean Kuilan, 34, was charged with reckless endangerment and criminal mischief in the brick-hurling attacks on Ver's bar, including a caught-on-video incident Saturday night. NYPD Chief of Detectives James Essig said, basically, what he says is he knows a girl who had a problem with one of the guys in the bar, and he was exacting revenge. Essig said, as of right now, we don't have any reason to believe it is a hate crime. Yeah. So, again, like I told you guys, most of these violent acts are not random, okay? In the sense that, you know, it's somebody that you don't know or that they're committing these violent acts because they hate your sex or your race or your gender or whatever. Most acts of violence that are committed against people are for reasons like this, okay? There was some beef, okay, with somebody that they knew. There was some lover's quarrel. There was something like that that happened, and that's why this happened, okay? Kuilan is being charged with 3 of 4 recent attacks at the bar because cops don't have surveillance video of one of the incidents. Essig said, quote, I'm gay myself, Kuilan said as he was led out of a police vehicle and escorted into court in handcuffs on Wednesday evening. Asked why he threw the bricks, he answered something personal. The suspect, who is nicknamed Paper Kid, is known in the neighborhood and was tracked down thanks to tips from NYPD's Crime Stoppers hotline, the chief added. Kuilan was arrested by the department's warrant squad and was also sought on a warrant in a menacing case from September 2nd, 2021, the chief said. Sources said he pulled a knife on the victim in that case and threatened, are you okay with dying? Police said he is charged with targeting the bar 3 times, including throwing bricks at the front window on November 3rd and shortly after that again on November 15th. Police on Monday released photos and video of the latest incident on November 19th, showing the suspect approaching the bar around 10 p.m. and hurling a rock while patrons were sitting behind the glass before running off. The customers were not injured thanks to the shatterproof pane installed by owner David DeParlessa, who said it was a precaution against anti-gay attacks. Yeah, it sounds to me like you need to worry about, again, more personal things going on than so-called hate crimes or anti-gay attacks. DeParlessa said it was the fourth time the bar has been targeted by unnerving attacks. Okay, so yeah, that happened. Didn't fit the narrative. Left, never talked about it. Right. But I gotta say a funny story here before I end this video, because I actually did live in Hell's Kitchen for a couple months in New York City my sophomore year in college. And yeah, that area is extremely LGBTQ friendly, right? In fact, I actually, and I thought this was the same bar, but I actually ended up walking into a gay bar in NYC on accident. I did not know that it was a gay bar. Just me and my friends were just going down the street looking for a place to have some drinks. And we just walked into this random place, and I just walked right on in and went up to the bar. And my friend told me, he was like, I think this is a gay bar. Like, this is actually a gay bar. And as soon as I heard that, I did an NBA level pivot right out of that establishment. Like immediately ran out of the establishment the moment that I found out it was a gay bar. So, yeah, I thought at first when I first read this story that may have been the same bar. I'm not sure if it was. It looks familiar. Probably wasn't. But yeah, I mean, I've been accidentally been to one of those type of bars in that area. But, you know, again, it's just funny to me how these stories don't seem to be that big of a deal anymore once it doesn't fit the narrative that this was some anti-gay attack. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.